The Alabama Crimson Tide does more things right than wrong, and make no mistake, I still think this is the best team Nick Saban has ever had. However, in this video, we're going to explore 4 problematic areas that currently exist within this elite Alabama football team. Run game. Alabama against Texas A&M was unable to control the line of scrimmage and led to the Tide only managing 41 rushing yards at halftime and a meager 109 rushing yards in total. This is problematic for the Alabama football team because this results in an unbalanced offensive attack. Alabama's goal is to split their rushing and passing yards in a fairly balanced way. In this game, Alabama had over 4 times the passing yards as they did rushing yards. To be fair, Texas A&M's game plan was to load the box by placing more defenders in to stop the run while sacrificing defenders in pass coverage. However, Alabama's offensive line should still be able to move the line of scrimmage with physical talent and proper run schemes in order to gain 5 to 6 yards on average. This allows them to still push teams around with their running game, even if in small chunks. The essential problem here, aside from Texas A&M loading the box, is that Alabama's offensive line needs to improve their run blocking, as well as Alabama's offensive coordinator scheming to mix in lateral runs along with smarter run fits to stack the odds in Alabama's favor when it comes to the rushing attack. With that said, Alabama is extremely loaded with talent on the offensive line, and I expect nothing but improvement with each game going forward in this area until we see a truly balanced pass-to-run ratio against good to elite defenses. Also, let us not forget, an offensive rule of thumb is to take what the defense gives you, and that's precisely what Alabama did against Texas A&M. Penalties. Alabama is near the rear of the pack in penalty yards against them. Bama averages 72 penalty yards a game, and in their latest game against Texas A&M were flagged a ridiculous 9 times for a total of 82 penalty yards. Generally, these penalties are illegal procedure, offensive holding, blocking in the back, and senseless delay of game offensive penalties. In Alabama's opening game this season, they were penalized 10 times for a whopping 111 yards against Louisville. After playing a third of the season, Alabama's penalties have given the opposing teams 9 first downs, and penalties have even cost the Tide a touchdown due to an illegal block on Jalen Waddle's punt return. These are mental mistakes that infuriate Nick Saban, keep opponents' drives alive, and could potentially be the difference between a win or a loss down the road. The good news is Alabama has 3 or 4 relatively easy opponents coming up in which they can focus on cleaning up these costly penalties before facing the toughest opponents on the schedule in November. Defense versus mobile quarterbacks. The Alabama defense overall played a great game against a very good Aggie offense. However, they were exposed again against a mobile quarterback in Kellen Mond. Mond managed to run for nearly 100 yards against this Alabama defense. Basically, the Alabama front 7, especially the linebackers, need to be far more disciplined, more focused, and improve their consistency and execution for 4 quarters. Texas A&M's highly mobile quarterback was able to achieve these rushing yards and even score a touchdown by tricking the Alabama defense to go one way while he used counter plays to scramble the other way for positive yardage. This is something other teams will attempt to use in the future against this Alabama defense, and as such, Alabama must work on the proper keys to shut down future mobile quarterbacks. Punting. To Alabama's credit, they have fixed the majority of their kicking issues. This was largely accomplished by replacing Temple grad transfer Austin Jones with the inexperienced place kicker Joseph Bulovas. Since Jones was benched, Bama's new kicker has not mixed an extra point and has only missed one field goal, while recently drilling a 48-yarder against Texas A&M. However, Alabama's punting situation, led by Skylar DeLong, has been lackluster at best. DeLong has kicked a total of 15 punts this season, while unfortunately only averaging 35.9 yards per punt. To put this into perspective, Alabama's former punter last year, J.K. Scott, kicked 243 punts for 11,074 yards and averaged 45.6 yards per punt. While I don't expect DeLong to live up to JK's performance, I do think he should definitely average more than 40 yards per punt. However, Alabama isn't doomed on its opportunities to flip the field this season. As Saban describes here,
the thing about Skylar is, he's been a lot better in practice. We know he's capable. I think we need to support him and try to help him develop the consistency in game situations that will allow him to have more success, and we certainly need for him to do that.
Nick Saban, in his latest press conference, requested less rat poison.
One thing I'd like to say to everybody, and I don't want to get into the rat poison again, but we got a good team, but our team needs to do a lot of things to improve. And if what our team has accomplished to this point makes them in any way, they underestimate what we need to do to improve so that we can become a better team, and don't just take things for granted, that we're going to show up because we got an Alabama uniform on and win the game. It's not going to happen that way, and it's going to be everybody's choice in the organization. So I'd appreciate it if you would, sort of look at some of the things we didn't do so well, and write about that. So maybe I can show it to the players and say, look here, man, here's something you can do better.
And, well, I'm just doing my part to deliver. Overall, this Alabama team is still among the greatest teams ever fielded under Nick Saban in his tenure at Alabama. Fans should not worry, as every team is going to have their problems to overcome as they traverse through the regular season. This team just needs to put an extra emphasis on keeping penalties to a minimum, getting more consistent push in the run game, being just a little smarter on defense when facing mobile quarterbacks, and continue to polish their special teams. I decided to be much more critical in this video per Nick Saban's request. But how about you guys? What areas and specific problems do you guys think this Alabama football team needs to work on this season, and why? As always, thanks for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until next time, take care.